The emergency beacons screamed across every frequency. Ambassador Kralnex watched the last human transport vessel disappear through the jump gate, its engines leaving nothing but cooling radiation in the void. 3 minutes. That was how long humanity had been gone from the Galactic Council's protection. 3 minutes, and the first distress calls were already flooding in. "Multiple breach signatures detected in the outer rim," the tactical officer announced, her voice cracking. 16 sectors reporting simultaneous invasions. Kralnex felt his secondary heart sink. The Devourers, the ancient enemy that had lurked beyond known space for millennia, held back only by the treaties humanity had secretly maintained. Treaties the Council had dismissed as human paranoia. "Get them back," Council Prime Velthar commanded from his floating throne. "Send a priority recall to the human fleet immediately." "Sir, they're not responding to any channels," Communications Officer Prax reported. Captain Ryan Mitchell transmitted one message before entering Dark Space Protocol. "Should I play it?" Veltar's crest flattened against his skull. "Play it." Ryan's voice filled the chamber, calm and cold. "You wanted us gone. You voted unanimously to revoke Earth's council seat. You called us warmongers. Savages. Too dangerous for civilized space. Fine. We're leaving. But don't call us when the monsters show up. You're on your own now." Mitchell out. The holographic display lit up with red markers. Planets burning, space stations going dark. The Devourers were moving faster than any projections had predicted, almost as if they had been waiting for this exact moment. "How many of their defense platforms did we dismantle?" Kralnex asked quietly. "All of them, sir. Per Council Resolution 4471, all human military installations were required to be decommissioned before their departure. We completed the process 2 weeks ago." 2 weeks? The Devourers must have been watching, counting down the days until humanity's weapons went silent. The network of early warning satellites, the gravity mines along the approach vectors, the massive railgun installations that could punch holes through capital ships from 3 light seconds away. All of it gone. "Sir, the Tartan Federation is requesting immediate military assistance," Prax continued, his hands shaking over the controls. "The Devourers are already through their outer defenses. Deploy the Third Fleet," Velthar ordered. "The Third Fleet cannot match the Devourers' advanced speed. According to projections, they'll arrive 3 days after the Federation falls." Velthar's skin paled to a sickly gray. "The Fourth Fleet, then. The Fifth. Send everything we have." Kralnex pulled up the strategic readouts on his personal display. The numbers didn't lie. Without human forces, the Council's military response time had increased by a factor of 8. Human ships, built for speed and aggression, had formed the Rapid Response Force for the entire galactic arm. Their absence left a void that nothing could fill. "Ambassador," a junior aide approached nervously. "The colonial worlds are demanding to know when help will arrive." "Tell them we're mobilizing all available forces," Kralnex replied, though he knew it was a lie. The truth was that the Council had spent 2 centuries relying on humanity to handle the threats too dangerous for civilized species. Now those threats were coming for everyone, and the Guardians were gone. On the main screen, another star system flickered and died. The Devourers were accelerating their assault, moving through space like a plague. Each world they consumed made them stronger, their fleet growing with captured resources and converted populations. "How long?" Velthar asked, though everyone knew what he meant. The tactical officer ran the calculations 3 times before answering. "At current rate of advance, the Devourers will reach the Council core worlds in 47 days. Silence fell across the chamber. 47 days until the heart of galactic civilization fell under assault. 47 days, and their fastest fleet deployments would take 60 days to return from their current positions. The math was brutal and undeniable. "There has to be something we can do," Velthar insisted. Kralnex looked at the ambassador's chair that had belonged to humanity for 200 years, now empty and gathering dust. There was something we could have done. We chose not to. Part 2, the Council emergency session had been in progress for 18 hours. 47 star systems had gone dark. The Devourer fleet, massive beyond comprehension, carved through the outer rim like a scythe through wheat. Ambassador Kralnek stood before the assembled representatives, exhaustion evident in every line of his body. "The Targon Federation is gone," he announced. Last transmission indicated the capital world had been completely consumed. Population, 12 billion. A ripple of horror passed through the chamber. The Targans had been a founding member of the Council, their civilization spanning 3,000 years. Now they existed only in historical records and refugee ships fleeing toward the core. "What about the defense fleet we deployed?" Councilor Fresh demanded. "Destroyed." The Devourers hit them from 4 vectors simultaneously. Our ships weren't designed for that level of coordinated assault. Human vessels could have handled the multi-axis attack patterns. Ours couldn't. Belthar leaned forward on his throne. "Surely we can adapt our tactics. With what time?" Kralnex pulled up a tactical display. "Every simulation we've run shows the same outcome. The Devourers spent centuries studying our military doctrine. They know exactly how we fight because we fight predictably. Humanity fought differently. Unpredictably. It kept the Devourers contained." "You're suggesting we need humans back?" Counselor Mike spoke from her water tank. "The same humans we spent 5 years investigating for war crimes. War crimes that were committed against the Devourers," Kralnek shot back. "Against an enemy that doesn't take prisoners, doesn't negotiate, and doesn't stop. Humanity fought them in ways we found disturbing, because those were the only ways that worked." He pulled up classified files, images that made several counselors look away. Human soldiers in void combat, using weapons the Council had banned centuries ago. Plasma cutters turned into weapons. Nuclear-pumped lasers. Kinetic kill vehicles accelerated to relativistic speeds. Tactics that seemed barbaric until you understood the enemy they faced. Captain Lisa Chen documented everything, Kralnex continued. Her reports showed that conventional Council weapons barely slowed the Devourers down. Their ships regenerate damage faster than plasma cannons can inflict it. But human railguns firing uranium slugs at 0.3% light speed, those punch through regenerative armor like it wasn't there. So humanity fought a brutal enemy with brutal methods. Counselor Drave spoke carefully. Why did we condemn them for it? Because we didn't believe the Devourers were real, Velthar admitted quietly. We thought humanity was inventing threats to justify their military expansion. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The Council had spent 5 years investigating humanity for excessive militarization, for maintaining weapons systems beyond what seemed necessary, for their constant warnings about the Devourer threat. And humanity had endured it all, submitting to inspections and inquiries, reducing their forces as ordered, until finally the Council had gone too far. Resolution 44 and 71 was my proposal, Beltar continued. I argued that humanity posed a greater threat to galactic peace than any external enemy. I was wrong. Krull next watched the Council Prime's admission ripple through the chamber. Political rivals who would normally have seized on such weakness remained silent, understanding that this was beyond politics now. Can we contact them? Counselor Fresh asked. Negotiate their return? We've tried every channel. Captain Mitchell took the entire human fleet into dark space. No tracking signals, no communication arrays, nothing. They effectively vanished. They can't just disappear, Mix protested. 50,000 ships don't simply vanish. Human ships can, Kralnex corrected. One thing we learned during our investigations. Humanity built their entire fleet with the assumption that someday they might need to hide from everyone. Multiple redundant systems, passive sensors only, hulls coated with radiation-absorbing materials. If they want to disappear, they'll disappear. The tactical display updated with new data. More systems going dark. The Devourer advance was accelerating, each consumed world adding to their momentum. "We need to try harder," Beltar insisted. "Offer them anything. Full reinstatement. Technology shares, territory. Whatever it takes. Respectfully, Council Prime. I don't think they want our territory," Kralnek said. Captain Mitchell's final transmission was clear. "They're done with us." Then what do they want? Honestly? I think they want to watch us face the same enemy they've been fighting alone for 2 centuries. I think they want us to understand what they went through, while we judged them for it. The chamber fell into uncomfortable silence. The truth was ugly, but undeniable. Humanity had warned them, had shown them classified briefings, had begged the Council to take the Devourer threat seriously. And the Council had responded by accusing them of warmongering. "There's another option," Councillor Drebs suggested. "We could fortify the core worlds, abandon the Outer Rim and concentrate our forces. That's 40% of Council territory," Hresh objected. "Better than losing everything." "The Devourers won't stop at the Outer Rim," Kralnex interrupted. "They never stop. Every world they take makes them stronger. If we give them 40% of our territory, they'll use it to build the forces needed to take the rest." "Then what do you suggest?" Kralnex pulled up a star chart. Human space was always here. In the frontier regions we considered too dangerous to develop. Wild space, we called it. Human ships operated out there for decades, far beyond our territory. If we can find their fallback positions, we might be able to make contact. You want to send ships into uncharted space during a full-scale invasion to find humans who don't want to be found. Mick sounded incredulous. "Yes, that's insane. So is sitting here waiting to die." Velthar considered for a long moment. "Do it. Take whatever resources you need, find them, and pray they're willing to listen, because if they're not, this council won't survive to see next year." Part 3, the scout ship Distant Hope jumped into the void beyond charted space, its sensors sweeping across a region that hadn't been mapped in 300 years. Commander Jack Bennett studied the displays, looking for any sign of human presence. For 2 weeks they had followed old shipping routes and rumored coordinates, finding nothing but empty space and dead stations. "Picking up something," Lieutenant Sarah Williams called from sensors. "Debris field, coordinates 27 Mark 6. Jack brought the ship around. The debris appeared on visual feeds, twisted metal scattered across 1,000 kilometers. A battle had happened here, and recently. Scanning the wreckage, Sarah continued. Multiple ship types. Council designs mostly. But there's something else. Large fragments, biological composition. "Devourers," Jack breathed. "They've been here. Sir, if the Devourers are operating this far out, then we're in even more trouble than we thought." He pulled up the long-range sensors. "Any sign of human ships?" "Negative. Wait." Sarah's hands flew over her console. "I'm detecting a faint signal, extremely low power. It's using an old Earth frequency, pre-council contact. Can you localize it?" "It's intentionally difficult to trace. Whoever set this up didn't want to be found easily." She paused. "Got it. Point source, roughly 30 light minutes from our position." Jack made the decision instantly. "Plot a jump. Conservative approach, passive sensors only once we arrive. If this is a human outpost, they're likely to shoot first, and ask questions never." The jump took 3 minutes. They emerged in a system dominated by a red dwarf star, 3 rocky planets orbiting in tight formation. The signal originated from the second planet, a world that barely qualified as habitable. "Atmosphere is marginal," Sarah reported. "Thin oxygen, high radiation from the star. But there are structures on the surface. And sir, I'm picking up active defense platforms. Targeting sensors locked onto them immediately." Jack raised his hands instinctively, though no one could see the gesture. "Broadcast on all frequencies." This is Council Scout Ship Distant Hope. We're here under Ambassador Kralnex's authority. We need to speak with Captain Mitchell. Silence. The targeting locks remained active. Dozens of weapons trained on their small vessel. Add this, Jack told Sarah. Tell them the Council was wrong. Tell them we need help. Tell them people are dying. Sarah transmitted the message. Another minute of silence stretched into eternity. Then a new voice cut across their comm system, rough and tired. This is Colonel Greg Foster, commander of Outpost Defiance. You've got some nerve coming out here, Council ship. Colonel Foster, I'm Commander Bennett. We've been searching for human forces for 2 weeks. The situation in Council space is desperate. Not our problem anymore. 47 star systems have been destroyed. Billions dead. The Devourers are moving faster than anyone predicted. Still not our problem. We warned you. For 200 years we warned you. Now you want us back because the monsters are real after all. Jack chose his words carefully. You're right. The Council was wrong. Catastrophically wrong. But the people dying right now, they didn't vote to expel humanity. They're just civilians watching their worlds burn. And we're just soldiers who got told we were too dangerous for civilized company. Foster's voice carried decades of bitterness. Go home, Commander. Die with dignity if you can. I can't do that. Then die out here. Makes no difference to us. The comm channel cut off. Jack stared at the blank screen, feeling hope drain away. They had found humans, but humans who had no intention of helping. Sir, we're being hailed, Sarah announced. Different source. Encrypted channel. It's using Ambassador Kralnex's personal codes. Put it through. A new voice emerged, younger and female. Commander Bennett, this is Lieutenant Amy Parker, Human Intelligence Corps. I've been monitoring your search. Your persistence is admirable, but pointless. Even if we wanted to help, we couldn't. Why not? Because humanity doesn't have 50,000 ships anymore. We have maybe 5,000 combat-ready vessels, scattered across 24 hidden outposts. The rest were disarmed per Council orders. Jack felt his stomach drop. 5,000 ships against the Devourer fleet? Would be suicide, yes. The only reason we survived this long was by maintaining overwhelming force. You took that away from us. Now we're just trying to survive like everyone else. Then the Council is finished. Probably. Amy's tone softened slightly. Look, I'm sorry. I really am. But humanity paid the price for protecting the Council for 2 centuries, and our reward was investigation, condemnation, and exile. We can't save you. We can barely save ourselves. Jack thought about Kralnex's desperate hope, about the billions dying in Council space, about the civilization crumbling under Devourer assault. He thought about his own family on the Council homeworld, probably dead already. What if there was another way, he asked. What do you mean? The Council disarmed humanity's forces, but they didn't destroy them, did they? The weapons platforms, the defense stations, the massive installations. Where did all that equipment go? Amy was silent for a long moment. It was decommissioned, powered down and left in storage facilities across the frontier. Could it be reactivated? Theoretically, yes. But it would take time, resources, and people we don't have. What if the Council helped? Provided resources, labor, whatever you need? You're suggesting the Council help rebuild the same military infrastructure they spent 5 years tearing down. I'm suggesting survival, Jack said firmly. Pride doesn't matter. Politics doesn't matter. If we work together, maybe we have a chance. Another pause. I'd need to take this up the chain. Captain Mitchell is in command of the human remnant. He's not exactly in a forgiving mood. Just get me a meeting. Please, if we're all going to die anyway, at least let us try to do something about it. Stand by. The channel went silent. Jack looked at Sarah, who shrugged helplessly. They had done everything they could. Now they could only wait and hope that humanity's anger wasn't quite strong enough to let billions die. Part 4. The meeting took place on an asteroid station, one of humanity's hidden facilities deep in uncharted space. Captain Ryan Mitchell stood across the table from Ambassador Crownnex, his expression carved from stone. Behind him, a dozen human officers watched with undisguised hostility. Behind Crownnex, Commander Bennett and a small delegation tried to look anywhere, but at the humans they had betrayed. "You've got 1 hour," Mitchell said flatly. "Make it count." Crownnex stood slowly, his multiple limbs trembling slightly. "Captain Mitchell, I have no excuses for what the Council did. I stood by while humanity was condemned for doing what was necessary. I allowed politics to override common sense, and now billions are paying the price for our stupidity." Nice speech. Doesn't bring back the human colonies your investigations shut down? Doesn't restore the careers destroyed by your war crimes tribunals. Doesn't give back the 200 years we spent bleeding to protect people who despised us for it. No, it doesn't. Crownnex met Mitchell's eyes steadily. Nothing I say will undo the damage, but I'm not here to apologize. I'm here to offer you a choice. What choice? The Council is dying. In 30 days, maybe less, the Devourers will reach our core worlds. Our fleets can't stop them. Our defenses aren't designed for the kind of warfare you pioneered against them. We will fall, and the entire galactic arm will fall with us. Still not hearing a choice? Here it is. Let us die, or help us survive. Crownnex pulled up a holographic display. Commander Bennett told me about the decommissioned installations. I've brought complete schematics, access codes, and resource allocations. Everything you need to reactivate humanity's defense network. Mitchell studied the display, his expression unchanging. This would take months to implement. We don't have months, but we might have enough time to make a difference if we start now. And what does humanity get out of this? Whatever you want. Council seat restored with full voting rights. Territory expansions. Technology shares. Formal apology and reparations for the investigations. Name your price. My price? Mitchell's voice dropped to a dangerous quiet. My price is watching you people face the same enemy we faced, without our help. My price is you finally understanding what we went through. My price is the satisfaction of being right when everyone called us paranoid warmongers. Then take your price, Crownnex said simply. Sit here in your hidden station and watch the Council burn. You've earned that right. But when we're gone, the Devourers won't stop. They'll come for you next. They'll consume every human world, every ship, every person. And you'll face them alone, with 5,000 ships instead of 50,000. The silence stretched. Mitchell's jaw worked, emotions warring across his face. Finally, he turned to his officers. Lieutenant Parker, analysis. Amy Parker stepped forward with a datapad. Sir, Ambassador Crownnex is correct about the timeline. At current Devourer advancement rate, they'll reach Earth's location within 3 years, if the Council falls. Our current forces cannot hold against a fleet of that size. Colonel Foster. Greg Foster, the man who had initially refused Bennett's request, spoke reluctantly. The decommissioned equipment is salvageable. If we had Council resources and labor, we could reactivate the primary defense platforms within 2 weeks. Full network restoration would take longer, but the core systems could be online fast enough to matter. Major Kevin Ross, a scarred human with cybernetic enhancements, consulted his own display. Strategic assessment confirms that we need the Council to survive. Not because we care about them, but because they're the buffer between us and total annihilation. If they fall, we're next. Mitchell turned back to Crownnex. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to grant humanity complete military autonomy. No oversight, no investigations, no questioning our methods. You're going to triple our allocated territory and provide full access to Council technology databases. You're going to issue a formal declaration that humanity's actions during the Devourer Wars were necessary and justified. Done. I'm not finished. You're also going to establish a memorial for every human who died fighting the Devourers while the Council looked the other way. And you're going to make damn sure that future generations know what happened here, so this stupidity never gets repeated. Agreed to all terms. Mitchell studied Kralnex for a long moment. You really think we can stop them? Honestly, I don't know. But I know we can't stop them apart. Together, we might have a chance. This doesn't make us friends. I'm not asking for friendship. I'm asking for partnership and survival. Mitchell looked at his officers, seeing the same resignation in their faces. They all knew the truth. As much as they wanted to let the Council suffer, they couldn't afford to let it fall completely. Not if they wanted humanity to survive. All right, Mitchell said finally. But we do this my way. Human forces operate independently. We share intelligence, but we make our own tactical decisions. And if any Council oversight officer even looks at us sideways, the deal is off. Those terms are acceptable. Then we have a deal. Mitchell extended his hand, and after a moment's hesitation, Kralnex grasped it with one of his primary limbs. The gesture felt hollow, built on desperation rather than trust, but it was a start. How soon can you mobilize your forces? Kralnex asked. Lieutenant Parker, send the activation codes to all outposts. Tell them we're back in the fight. Amy's fingers flew across her console. Code sent. We should have fleet acknowledgement within the hour. Commander Bennett, Mitchell addressed the Council officer directly. Your ship will escort the ambassador back to Council space. On your way, you'll stop at these coordinates. He transmitted a list of locations. Those are the primary storage facilities for our decommissioned equipment. You'll provide access authorization to the human engineering teams already en route. Understood, Captain. One more thing. Mitchell pulled up a tactical display showing the Devourer advance. You see this pattern? They're moving in a spiral formation, consuming systems from the outside in. It's efficient, but it leaves their flanks exposed. If we can reactivate the defense platforms quickly enough, we can hit them from angles they're not expecting. Kralnex studied the display. You've been tracking their movements. Of course we have. We never stopped watching the Devourers, even after you kicked us out. The difference is that now you're listening to us about them. Part 5. The defense platform designated Sentinel-7 powered up for the first time in 18 months. Its massive railguns cycled through diagnostic checks while human engineers swarmed over its systems, restoring functions the Council had ordered disabled. Captain Nicole Hayes stood on the command deck, watching the displays light up one by one. Primary weapons online, her tactical officer reported. Secondary batteries at 80%. Targeting systems fully operational. How many platforms do we have active? 43 across the defensive perimeter. Another 60 are coming online within the next 6 hours. Nicole pulled up the strategic overview. The Devourer fleet was 2 days out from the first line of defense, a massive wave of organic ships that blotted out the stars. Council fleets had positioned themselves between the Devourers and their core worlds, but everyone knew they wouldn't last long without support. Captain, incoming transmission from Captain Mitchell. Put him through. Mitchell's face appeared on the main screen. Status report, Captain Hayes. Sentinel-7 is operational. We're ready to demonstrate what these platforms can actually do. Good. The Council is about to see why we insisted on building these things in the first place. Mitchell transmitted new orders. The Devourers will reach attack range in 48 hours. I want every active platform calibrated and ready. No mistakes. Understood, sir. The channel closed. Nicole turned to her crew, seeing their determination despite the impossible odds. These people had been told they were too dangerous, too militaristic, too violent for civilized space. Now they were the only thing standing between civilization and extinction. "All stations listen up," she announced. "In 2 days, we're going to hit the Devourers harder than they've been hit in a century. We're going to show them what happens when you attack while humanity is watching. And we're going to remind the Council why they should have listened to us in the first place." On the Council flagship Unity's Pride, Admiral Pete Wilson watched the same tactical displays with very different emotions. His fleet of 300 ships looked impressive on paper, but he knew what was coming. The Devourer Vanguard numbered in the thousands, each ship a living weapon that could regenerate damage faster than conventional weapons could inflict it. "Sir, the human platforms are signaling ready status," his communications officer reported. "Acknowledge their signal, and pray they're as effective as they claim." "You don't think they can stop the Devourers? I think we're about to find out if humanity's reputation is deserved, or if we condemn them for nothing." The waiting was agonizing. Ships held position, crews ran final checks, and everyone tried not to think about what would happen if the defense failed. The Devourers wouldn't just destroy them. They would consume everything, converting matter and energy into more of themselves, an endless cycle of destruction. "Contact," the sensor officer announced. "Devourer Vanguard entering sensor range. Count is 4,200 vessels, multiple ship classes." Pete felt his blood run cold. 4,000 ships. His fleet would last maybe an hour against those numbers. "Human platforms are adjusting position," Tactical reported. "They're forming into a dispersed shell pattern around our fleet." "What are they doing?" "Unknown, sir. The formation doesn't match any standard Council defensive doctrine, because it wasn't Council doctrine. It was something humanity had developed through centuries of fighting an enemy the Council had refused to believe existed." Pete watched the platforms move with practiced precision, each one taking position with clear purpose. "Incoming transmission from Captain Mitchell, Priority Alpha." "Put him through." "Admiral Wilson, this is Mitchell. When the shooting starts, your fleet needs to stay behind our defensive line. I know that seems cowardly, but trust me on this. Captain, with all respect, my ships can fight." "Against Council enemies? Yes. Against the Devourers, you'll just get in the way. Let us handle the first wave. If we fail, you'll get your chance soon enough." Pete wanted to argue, but the cold logic was undeniable. His weapons were designed for conventional warfare. The human platforms were designed specifically to kill Devourers. Acknowledged. "Council fleet will hold position." "Good luck, Admiral." "To all of us." The Devourer fleet advanced like a living tide. Their ships pulsed with bioluminescence, organic hulls writhing as they moved through space. They had consumed 47 star systems, each victory making them stronger. They expected this to be just another easy target. They were wrong. "All platforms, open fire," Mitchell's voice commanded across every channel. Sentinel-7 spoke first. Its primary railgun accelerated a 10-ton uranium slug to 30% of light speed in the span of 2 seconds. The projectile crossed 300,000 kilometers in less than a heartbeat, striking a Devourer cruiser amidships. The kinetic energy released was equivalent to a small nuclear weapon. The cruiser didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, converted instantly into expanding plasma. Then the other 42 platforms opened fire. The space between the fleets became a storm of relativistic projectiles. Uranium slugs tore through Devourer ships like paper, each impact releasing enough energy to vaporize anything in its path. The organic vessels tried to regenerate, their biological systems desperately working to repair damage, but there was nothing to repair. The platforms weren't just damaging ships, they were erasing them. "Targets destroyed 800 and counting," Nicole reported from Sentinel-7. "Reload sequence complete." Firing again. The second volley was even more devastating. The Devourers had bunched up, trying to overwhelm the defense with numbers. It made them perfect targets. Railgun slugs punched through multiple ships at once, each projectile carrying enough momentum to penetrate dozens of organic hulls before finally losing energy. On Unity's Pride, Pete watched in stunned silence. His sensors could barely track the railgun fire. The projectiles moved so fast that they appeared as brief flashes of radiation, there and gone, before instruments could fully register them. "Devourer fleet is breaking formation," his tactical officer reported, voice filled with shock. "They're scattering." The Devourers were retreating. The enemy that had consumed 47 star systems, that had destroyed the Targan Federation, that had shattered every fleet sent against it, was retreating from 100 human defense platforms. "All units pursue and destroy," Mitchell ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The platforms shifted position, their targeting systems tracking fleeing Devourer ships. More railgun fire lanced out, each shot finding its mark. The Devourers tried to jump to faster than light, but human gravity mines detonated along their escape vectors, collapsing their jump fields and leaving them stranded in normal space. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. "Cease fire," Mitchell commanded after 20 minutes. All hostile contacts eliminated or retreating beyond engagement range. Silence fell across both fleets. The humans had destroyed over 3,000 Devourer ships without losing a single platform. The Council fleet hadn't fired a shot. "Captain Mitchell, this is Admiral Wilson. I owe you an apology. We all do." "Say the apologies, Admiral. We have work to do. The Devourers will be back, and next time they'll know what they're facing. What do you need?" "Everything. Resources, personnel, time to build more platforms." This was just one fleet. The Devourers have dozens more. You'll have whatever you need. I'll make sure of it personally. On Sentinel-7, Nicole watched the tactical display clear of hostile contacts. Around her, her crew celebrated, but she felt no joy. This victory was necessary but bittersweet. They had proven humanity's worth again, but only because the Council had finally been desperate enough to listen. "Captain, incoming message from Ambassador Kralnick's," communications reported. Nicole accepted the channel. "Ambassador, Captain Hayes, I wanted to thank you personally. You saved billions of lives today. We did what we always do, Ambassador. We fought the monsters. The difference is that now you're finally letting us do it properly. I know words are inadequate, but I am sorry for everything." Nicole looked at the empty space where thousands of Devourer ships had been minutes before. "Sorry doesn't bring back the humans who died while the Council investigated us. Sorry doesn't restore the colonies we had to abandon. But it's a start. What happens now? Now we rebuild humanity's defense network properly. We train Council forces to fight the way we fight. And we make damn sure that when the Devourers come back, we're ready to hit them even harder. And after that, maybe we can work on actually trusting each other. But that's going to take a lot longer than rebuilding a few defense platforms." The channel closed. Nicole turned to her crew, seeing their exhausted but determined faces. They had won a battle, but the war was far from over. The Devourers would adapt, would return in greater numbers, would test the defenses again and again. But this time, humanity wouldn't face them alone. This time, the Council understood the threat. This time, maybe, they could work together to survive. Outside the viewport, human engineering ships were already moving to repair and upgrade the platforms. Council support vessels were bringing supplies and personnel. It wasn't perfect. Trust would take years to rebuild. But they were working together, and that was more than anyone had dared hope for just a week ago. Captain Nicole Hayes smiled grimly. The Council had learned its lesson the hard way. Now they just had to survive long enough to make sure that lesson stuck.